Today, we're embarking on a fascinating journey behind the scenes to uncover how former U.S. presidents travel in secrecy. When a president is in office, their travels are a grand spectacle, complete with media coverage and extensive security. But what about when they're no longer in the White House? How do they travel while ensuring their safety and maintaining a low profile? If you have ever wondered how these high-profile figures manage to stay under the radar after leaving office, then stick around as we delve into the world of discreet travel, from secretive jets to undercover operations. Let's get started. Let's start with a basic overview. Former presidents of the United States are no longer in office, but once a president, always a VIP. Former presidents are entitled to Secret Service protection for the rest of their lives, with a few exceptions. The Secret Service, originally established in 1865 to combat counterfeiting, became the primary agency responsible for the security of presidents, which was later extended to former presidents. 2012 saw the passage of a law reversing 1994's 10-year limit for Secret Service protection for former presidents. As of 2013, the Secret Service is tasked with watching over every ex-president until death does them part. During post-presidency, the security needs of former presidents remained high due to their ongoing public engagements, political influence, and the sensitive nature of their knowledge. Several agencies collaborate to ensure the secure travel of former presidents. When international transport is involved, the State Department liaises with foreign governments to ensure the security of ex-presidents abroad. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, coordinates with the Secret Service to maintain confidentiality of flight plans and air traffic control. Historically, Air Force One is the official air traffic control call sign for any U.S. Air Force aircraft carrying the president. It is more than just a plane. It's a symbol of American power and a crucial tool for the President of the United States, as it is capable of being a mobile command center in the air. But once a president completes their terms, they lose their Air Force One privileges. Many former presidents prefer to travel by private jet, especially for longer distances. After all, who wants to deal with the hassle of airport security and delayed flights? Because of security details, all presidents and spouses are entitled to lifetime Secret Service protection. Offspring are protected up to the age of 16. Flying commercial usually isn't viable. Plus, private jets provide a level of comfort and privacy that's hard to beat. It limits access to the general public and allows flexible scheduling, reducing the risk of leads. Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States, known for his opulent lifestyle, has his own private Boeing 757, often referred to as Trump Force One, which for much of his time in the White House sat dormant at an airport in New York. Before boarding Air Force One, Trump would frequently utilize his private jet, which he acquired in 2011 for a whopping $100 million, for both personal and official travel. Even after leaving office, it remains his preferred mode of air travel, showing his commitment to maintaining a luxurious travel experience and allowing him to travel stress-free. When the Obama family flew for the first time without Air Force One, it was a luxe private experience. Former First Lady Michelle Obama was seen boarding Sir Richard Branson's Falcon 900EX jet in Palm Springs, California, on the way to a Necker Island getaway in the British Virgin Islands. While Barack Obama was not seen boarding the plane with Michelle, rest assured that he too traveled to Necker Island in a way that was anything but commercial. With a fleet of private planes at his disposal, Obama can navigate the world with ease, whether it be for humanitarian missions or personal pursuits. Flights have also been quite regular with Bill Clinton, the 42nd President of the United States of America, while working after his presidency. Not that he is any stranger to flying. As president, he made 54 international trips to 72 different countries. However, Bill Clinton is no Donald Trump, and he doesn't own a private jet that he can just zoom off on. Instead, Mr. Clinton is known to charter aircraft and has even been spotted taking commercial aircraft with his wife, Hillary. He has also been known to use his connections to get access to private jets, with him being a close friend and associate of Frank Gustra, whose jet he regularly borrows. In fact, between 2005 and 2015, Clinton, through his foundation, borrowed Just Trust plane an amazing 26 times for the foundation business. Former President George Walker Bush has had a few private jet incidents since leaving office. One emergency landing in 2013 after smoke was reported on board, as well as a bad publicity episode after he accepted a $20,000 private jet flight and a $100,000 speaking fee to attend a veterans event. The only former president who is the exception to the private jet trend is former President Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalynn, who traveled on a commercial Delta flight from Atlanta to Washington, District of Columbia, for former President Trump's inauguration, emphasizing their commitment to a simple life. In fact, Carter's choice of transportation also expands to trains, particularly Amtrak, which he considers eco-friendly. His use of private planes was also minimal, and when employed, he opted for smaller, more environment-friendly aircraft. Now you might be wondering how these former presidents jet-set around the world in style without breaking the bank. Travel for former presidents and no more than 2 of their designated staff is actually covered by taxpayer dollars, thanks to the Former Presidents Act (FPA) of 1958. In 1969, the General Services Administration (GSA) took control of determining the travel costs and capped annual appropriations at $1 million per president and $500,000 per president's spouse. In order for travel to be funded by the GSA, travel needs to be related to a function dealing with their capacity as a former president. Pure leisure travel does not make the cut, unfortunately. Former presidents may also use military aircraft provided by the Department of Defense. These planes offer high-end security measures and can be used for both domestic and international travel. To obscure their movements, former presidents and their security teams often employ aliases and decoys. Travel arrangements may be booked under an assumed name to prevent tracking and recognition. This method is particularly used in hotel reservations and car rentals where anonymity is feasible. Travel routes are also subjected to last-minute changes to avoid potential ambushes. This method was used by Barack Obama for his international appearances and George Bush, who has made several trips to war zones in Iraq and Afghanistan. From Africa to Asia, each of George Bush's flights contributes to addressing crucial issues like healthcare and education. Another extra layer of protection employed for ex-presidents is the use of decoys. One of the most iconic aspects of Bill Clinton's travel repertoire was his use of Marine One, the presidential helicopter. Picture this, a sleek, high-gloss green and white helicopter slicing through the sky with the President of the United States aboard. With cutting-edge technology and state-of-the-art security measures, this airborne behemoth ensured the president's safety while whisking him away to various destinations. But the Marine One was not alone in its duties. Accompanied by a swarm of identical decoy helicopters, it was a strategic decision aimed at deceiving potential threats on the ground. You see, when you are the President of the United States, or even the ex-president, security isn't just a priority, it is a way of life. Coming down to the earth, throughout history, the U.S. presidential car has undergone significant changes and advancements. During Obama's tenure as president, his motorcades were remarked for their logistics and security. The central vehicle of these motorcades was the Cadillac One, aptly nicknamed the Beast, a heavily armored limousine equipped with the latest communication and defense systems. The lead cars led the motorcade, ensuring the route ahead was secure and straightforward. In addition to the Beast and lead cars, the motorcade also carried sweepers carrying counter-assault teams ready to respond to potential threats. But just like the Air Force One, ex-presidents no longer receive the coveted motorcade treatment once they step down from presidentship. Gone are the days of cruising through the streets with sirens blaring and a fleet of vehicles in tow, making everyone jealous of their VIP status. Instead, former presidents are typically expected to blend in like your average Joe or Jane. But just because they don't have a motorcade anymore doesn't mean former presidents are left to fend for themselves on public transportation. they still have access to various private transportation options. The travel approach has simply transitioned from the presidential high-profile protocol-driven convoys to a more discreet yet secure approach. The motorcades now are more minor and less conspicuous, though they still provide high levels of protection. Though the specific details are not available for obvious security reasons, they probably include armored sport utility vehicles and sedans offering robust protection, while less noticeable than the Beast. The organization of these post-presidency motorcades involves careful route planning and coordination with local authorities, similar to their time in office but on a smaller scale. Following the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy in 1963, security detail for U.S. presidents transformed to become much stricter. Ground transportation is restricted to ex-presidents due to safety concerns. Secret Service agents who protect ex-presidents for 10 years after leaving office must chauffeur them in vehicles large enough to fit the ex-president and their family. Interestingly, the last president to drive himself was Lyndon Baines Johnson in 1969. Since then, presidents like Barack Obama and George Walker Bush, who were not accustomed to being chauffeured before assuming office, have had to adapt to this new mode of transportation. Barack Obama has openly expressed a longing for the simple pleasure of driving along Lakeshore Drive. Bill Clinton, who enjoyed driving, is now limited to using a golf cart on private estates. These safety regulations are in place to protect the individuals privy to government secrets and ensure their well-being. It is a reminder that the world of ex-presidential travel is not just about luxury and convenience, but also about maintaining the security of those who have held the highest office in the land. Despite not being legally allowed to drive on public roads, each of the former presidents has a penchant for unique automobiles. This includes Bill Clinton with his iconic Ford Mustang convertible and Chevrolet El Camino, and Donald Trump staying true to his larger-than-life persona with his 1965 Silver and Phantom Rolls-Royce collection, 1977, Lamborghini Diablo, and the Tesla Roadster. George Bush spent his post-president days at Prairie Chapel Ranch, a serene 1,600-acre haven in central Texas, where he drives his Ford F-150 King Ranch, reflecting his Texan roots, freely on the property roads. The extensive method used to protect former presidents during travel has raised several ethical and legal questions. The financial burden of protecting these ex-presidents falls on the taxpayers, raising concern about the justification of these expenses, especially during times of economic strain. Balancing the privacy of former presidents with the public's right to know is an ongoing challenge. While secrecy is essential for security, excessive confidentiality can fuel public distrust and speculation. The secretive travel of former presidents is a complex undertaking that involves coordination across multiple agencies, and their covert travel plans are as fascinating as it is secretive. So there you have it, an inside look into the clandestine world of former U.S. presidents and their travel methods, with a touch of mystery and a whole lot of security. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.